Good evening, friends. Welcome you all to Revamp's continuous classes on UGC Net. Today we have Aravind from Jawaharlal Nehru University. He is currently pursuing his PhD in International Relations, that is from CPOD. I welcome you, bro. And I request the participants to unmute and ask questions whenever it is needed or to text in the chat box. And I also would like to remind you that you are on live. The live is also set to watch from YouTube audience. So I request the people to those who are watching in YouTube also can comment in the live chat box or in the comment box. You can ask your question. So today, most probably now the UCNet exam is happening. So you might have seen your examination date and preparing well. Hope you all are safe and maintaining good health to while preparing. You might be you should take care of your health also, because the winter is going on. Yeah, now I welcome our speaker, and yeah, bro, it is with you now. Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Ilya. So it's a great opportunity to address the people and to give my inputs to the fellow students and the future scholars regarding the JRF in the international relations or international studies to be said. And I thank everyone. I thank Ilya, Kaya, and everyone for organizing the one. With a large number of participants, I see that the international relations is reaching its spaces in India, especially in reaching its spaces. I'm so happy because once the IR discipline doesn't have a large number of JRF, the competitions as much like as in political science, etc. But I see a large number of persons who are appearing for international studies. So happy to be it because what happens is I say basically about the international studies there are usually master students in, let's say, in political science usually opt for uh, JRF in political science, whereas they don't find a quick method because the JRF exams in international relations is so easy because it is a limited syllabus and limited question banks and limited thinkers. Whereas if you see political science and otherwise other subjects, sociology, etc., etc., you see a lot number of syllabus and deep concepts. Whereas in international relations, it is a growing field. First and foremost, it is a positive and negative in its own spaces. Therefore, the international relations JRF is easy to crack. It's basically easy to crack. So they say that less number of students uh, to get JRF, but it's not so because I attempted once during my 2019 and got my JRF because it is completely my own interest and the syllabus is so easy. I mean, so easy and a limited syllabus. So by going through the first methods to crack the JRF in international relations is three things you have to basically take it. First is the syllabus. Second is the reference book, which I will say in the future presentation. And the third is the previous year question papers. With this three, I am damn sure, I'm strongly assured that everyone that you can crack the JRF or ease the JRF in international studies with ease. And it is because the I as for say it's a limited syllabus, limited books, limited thinkers, limited authors. It is easy to and it is interesting from my perspective. So I'm an IR student. I may be a little bit biased towards it, but it was interesting compared to the other field of studies. And in Western countries, it is a growing interdisciplinary field. A person who has done his sociology course can do an PhD in international relations because in an interdisciplinary course, one can do an social justice example of social justice and social movements in international relations in Western countries. So it is a great opportunity for an growing interdisciplinary field in aspects of international relations. So I will quickly put out the easiest the ways for getting a crack in JRF. to the fellow students who may, in the upcoming days, will give the JRF, will appear for the international studies JRF. It is completely easy. With the right guidance, I'm sure you can do it. So let's get down to my the presentation. So I hope my screen is visible. Can I get, is it visible to everyone?
It's
Yes.
visible, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Uh, so or chair of international and area studies. It's We have to know the basic that it's code number 90 in our UGC net. So the First, I will go with the reference manual, the reference books which I studied, and I also ask you to go through it. It is basically the textbook of international relations. For It is basically used for your basic understanding and to get a JRF. And it will be the base for you for getting an international relations idea. And more while entering into your PhD, you will get to study a deep about each subjects. For example, if you're interested in realism, Marxism, or the critical theory of IR, you will go into details. But as far as now, the reference books which I suggest is the following. Get a note of it and do apply while studying for this paper two, that is the international area and area studies. As you know, the basic structure of international area studies is 100 marks, 100 questions, 200 marks, and you know the basic details. Usually, it's a percentile exam. I hope that you have been revised and do one multiple study. Uh, in the upcoming exams, take it may help you a little bit, but here are some of my techniques which I use, which I hope will be useful for you and the future scholars who will be looking at this presentation. So the reference books I used will be a mixture of both Indian and the Western authors. It also includes the reference materials in UPSC, etc. as well as because international, as I said earlier, IR is a developing field. So each day a new events will develop, horizons will develop. Therefore, it is a developing field, not unless like history per se. So the reference book, which mandatory I say, one has to read is the key concepts in Andrew Hayward's. It's basically three. The Andrew Hayward is an professor who works in the Western University. His books, the basic to understand the key concept and nuances for writing the exams. Because in future of the presentation, you will see the syllabus. The key terms will be directly asked in the examinations. I will show you how they have been asking in our examinations, the JRF examinations. Therefore, these are the three key books. The key concepts in politics and international relations is a basic standard because, for example, the dente and other things will, for example, the word dente will be so shown in this, will be explained cleanly in this book. The multipolar the system, etc., etc., will be superbly told in this book. That is the key concept of politics and international relations. The politics in the global politics will say about the events, the theory which has been used in the international theories in a larger instance. So, getting to know this and reading this is more important for the reference book. And the other thing for in the Indian foreign policy, the chapter 5, the IR international relations by Pavanir Singh is a basic text. As I said earlier, that IR is a developing field. You can reference the Mission IAS PT materials, which is available freely in the website. For the last uh, 4 years will be better because for understanding the current relevance of for example, the bodies, the UN bodies and the other things, the PT 365 international relations, the visionized material is the most important one. So do take and for the last 3 years or 4 years will be better. So these are the basics reference books we have to mandatory go through before sitting for the exams. Going on to the exams, what I usually do and I suggest on my change their studying habits. It's according to their own style. Uh, how to have a reference material and the previous year question on one side and the syllabus on the other side. So mugging up the syllabus is the first and mandatory for appearing for any paper two exams in UGC net or even any competitive exam because it is a competitive exam per se, not our university's exam. So because it is the computer measures are so it is an subjective exam, subjective exams. Before 2013, it wasn't subjective exams as well. But with the large number of people appearing for the exams, it becomes an objective type. So these books becomes a comparative formula. So these books and these reference books, the syllabus on one side and the previous year questions. So previous year questions can be easily available, and our students with Revamp, we will try to put out in the Google one, and you can download it. We will discuss further, and we'll discuss with the teammates, and we'll put out on the one. So going on to the, that unit, there are 10 units each student by the uses. I mean the standard, they will ask 10 questions. So for 10 into 10, so 100 questions. So this is the first unit, and likewise we have will explain about each unit and how it I mean, evenly, whatever I've seen in the past exams, it is more or less evenly spread, not specific to an important unit or so. But it is IR is a mixture of every unit because unit one will then merge in unit three, four, five because the concepts and ideas are same throughout one. Therefore, one cannot purely define its student to unit one, unit or unit five, and unit six. So, but each unit carries its own merit and marks. That's how the important of the IR international studies. So for the unit one, you see the unit one is international area studies, concept theories and approaches. These are the chapters. The chapter one is major concept, scope of IR and area studies, the theories, realized liberal, Marxist, and critical areas and area studies. Approaches is Western and non-Westerns, power politics, balance of power, geopolitics, multipolarity, and polycentrism, state and non-state actors in IR studies. For getting a conceptual understanding and now know what is what, these two books are more important. That is a key concept in politics and international relations and the global politics for the first chapters. So there you can get the core definitions of the said words and the concepts. It is more important to mug the syllabus to your heart. You are so determined to get you into a JRF. It is the mandatory first steps. Mugging up, you have to know what is unit 3, what is unit 5, what are the unit 5 chapter 3. Because while reading it, you have to map it because you can interlink it and map it. So these are the first step one has to do. For example, I pick up one question which has been asked in 2022 JRF exams, which is see the 2022 it's an net JRF 2022 exams. What the question is? The balance of power represents what? Managing power and state security, cause of interstate rivalry, rational strategy on peace between nations, the role of states in conflicts. So it's connected to the unit one by reading this chapter uh, and the syllabus and the set books. You should able to give a know what's the answer of balance of power represents as you have studied most of more or less prepared. I think you can answer that. Please put it in your chat box if so, or try it independently. So, what's the balance of power represents based on these questions? So, another major impact interest of I said it is a limited syllabus. So, if you are so you're so, yeah, first one of interstate delivery. Balance, yeah, that's true. The options two is true. Yeah. Likewise, because the balance of power doesn't, for example, this year too, they may ask balance of power represents, but the wordings might be being changed. Only if you understand your concept very well, you'll be get to crack it. They may give out an example of country A, country B situation may be asked in the balance of our questions. Likewise, here it is asked like this because, and I said that IR is a limited subjects, limited syllabus. The question will always repeat itself. So that's a more positive point. So what I said is last 20 years question, you have to read it because in 2013, before questions, it is a subjective question. You have to read the options, then you will get a new question. For example, let's say in 2011 question, let's say there are 100 questions. By studying each option, you will get another 400 questions, 100 into 4. These from these 400 questions, you will get read the future exams, the upcoming exams, and then the past exam. You can see it is more or less overlap. So that's the positive of IR. Actually, because the limited content, whereas in other bias towards IR, but in other you have a large number of concept. But it is clearly written in the unit one, the balance of power concept and geopolitics by priority. You will get to easily know about it. So, and moving on to the chapter unit two, the evolution of power and AI studies. It is the emergence of nation state, nationalism, World War One, interwar period, post-war period, post-World War II period, that is majorly Cold War, decolonization, global south and international politics, post-Cold War for international relations, impact of globalization. For this, the same thing I always said, the reference of these two, the global politics and the politics, the major chunk you will get to know about how the interwar period, post-war periods, what's the relationship, what not. Because if you read the Cold War, you have to remember the years and the meetings and the acts they signed, the etc. have to be memorized. The year meet, the day of the meet is if you are so I mean if you are able to make up you can make up the dates also, the leaders of the event, countries the event, where the event takes place is one of the most important. We have to remember and what subject to does it achieve subject. That's how you see the unit two chapters. So on saying this, so on based on the first questions, you can see the question has been asked in the 2022 JRF questions that Treaty of Westphalia ended the war. 30 Years War, European War, First World War, Sino-Vietnam War. As you as hope you are have been read a lot, I ask you to give a try for the answer for this one. And what I get is option one is correct. Yeah, the 30 Years War. What? Yeah, that's true. While revising the one should not just leave that, okay, Westphalia is 1648, the 30 Years War. No, no, we have to read the other two questions too. We have to study when did Yom Kippur War started, when it ended, whose country, which were the countries involved, which were the leaders involved, for what reason it happens. So you will get to read another question where you know about Yom Kippur. Because in the future exam, they will ask what is Yom Kippur. They asked when did Yom Kippur ended. What's the treaty which ended the Yom Kippur? Likewise, you have to read from this option. You have to read about the First World War, Vietnam War, etc. That's how a single questions can become a four questions. So on moving on to answer unit three, the chapter the changing patterns of world order, unipolar, bipolar, multipolar, and polycentrism, the role of major powers, US, China, India, Japan, and EU, globality, globalization, democratization, and world order, science, tech, and global order. For this, I said the same thing. I always used to say the global politics book, Andrew Hayward's with the latest edition covers most of this concept. And the key concepts also define this concept because one has to know the definition of this word. What is meant by globality? What is meant by globalism? What is meant by globalization? Which we can refer in the said book, the key concepts, the definition, and then the global politics, the theory and the concept. So we have to be read these books because it is what I find somewhat useful for the IR. You have read it. I mean, in some other books, it's well and good. But you have to know the coin, the key term. What is globalism, globalization, etc. So, put out one example of the questions that is here. The another questions which is
In
asked in
between,
2022
your
one,
voice is
which is
getting this
hyperglobalism.
thing.
Okay, I'm audible right now.
Yeah, now can you please speak a little slowly also because I think you're kind of fast.
Okay, okay, sure, sorry. Okay, sure. I will keep it slow down a bit. Okay. As I said, the unit three in the contemporary world order, the each term has to be read or has to be known what's the exact meaning, the definition. As I said earlier, it has been explained in the key concept books. What is bipolarity? What is multipolarity? What is polycentrism? We have to know each and every definitions, and the concepts will be East Lancashire and the Global Politics by Andrew Hayward. One example I can quote here is from the 2022 the one 2022 UGC net exams, which put out a questions like this: hyperglobalism depicts the following: evolutionary shift in political tectonics, technological determinations, borderless wall, all the above. So you have to find out the answers or close to it. One. You can I mean, answer this one in the chat box will be well and good. So these because and what I say this it is an ideas and theory. Its implementation will be connected in the later part of the syllabus. Let's say the unit 9 Russia, unit 10 is the America. There you find the practical applications of this one. Therefore, I said one cannot easily separate it, but it is an intermix of everyone. That's how the unit 3. Let's go on to the unit 4. It is more or less an important one on IR level because usually that IR is a study of war. Therefore, it is mostly related to the conflict, security, and peace, national and international. So here the syllabus is concept components and the models of national international security. And you have to know the each strategic thoughts of each one, the year which they are run, the works they have done, the books they have written, and the in which year the books have been written, and what are the key ideas of the books. That is more than enough. That's the thoughts of Kautilya, Sun Tzu, Machiavelli, Antonio Jomini, Clausewitz, Mackinder, Mahan, Dohet, Mitchell, Skerber, Kissinger. So we have to know this one because, for example, Kissinger has written recently passed away. May God rest his soul. Has written a lot of books. We have to know the books he has written in which year has written in a chronological wise. It's a more important. Because this may usually in competitive exam, this will usually be asked like that. And in the evolution of strategic documents, the mass retaliation, deterrence, flexible response, MAD, visualization, destruction, strategic defense, initiative, NMD. So you have the same thing I said earlier. I have to go to the global politics and the key concepts, how to find the exact meaning and how it is been exact meaning of this term. And in the due course of one, you will read about what are the you will read about the concepts of this one, the said books as earlier, and the evolution of India's security policy, nuclear and marine doctrines. For as it is an evolving field, you can, as said earlier, you can reference the PT 360, the one because the security policies it evolves, and usually they may ask the recent one. The recent one I said is within the 10 years or within the 20 years is the recent one in India security policy. So you can look into it. And the other chapter is new modern modes of warfare, conventional, low intensity conflict, information communication warfare, nuclear, biological, chemical warfare, revolution, military affairs. So in this one you have to know what are the conventions acts which has been signed by different countries which has been passed in UN, for example biological and chemical warfare. There are many conventions, UN security conventions, there is which country has the laws to use it, which country just used it, for example what type of chemicals have been used, they may ask this type of questions. Therefore, you have to know the acts and the conventions of each one, the new modes of warfare, the nuclear, biological, chemical, revolutions in military affairs. Revolutions in military affairs, it is about the technological they use. The S-20, the fighter jets, etc., etc., which is mostly in the news. Therefore, only I will ask you to go through the security, I mean, IR one as IA 360. That PT 360 Vision IS will be more helpful on covering these subjects in the current affairs. So then next is non-traditional security threat is food and health security, energy security, environmental security, gender security, human security, cyber security, and terrorism. So this is security studies. Most on the non-security studies is one of the growing one. And the same thing, you can find the latest edition of Global Politics. Andrew Evans has given a non-traditional security is a great one. So the ideas and the key concepts has to be referred from those one. The disarmament, the arms controls and disarmament, as you read this in your Cold War theory and syllabus, I mean, the Cold War era, you will know the arms control and acts. You should actually know the acts, the day or the year you signed, who's the party, who's the leader, and etc. So this how the Unit 4 has to be gone through. And one of the same year, 2022 question, they asked us the term dente refers to, that please share your answers in the one. Loosening of tensions, non-production of results in war, period of accommodation, prisoner of war camp. So we have to can answer it if you're gone through, but you just try in your one and do check it before. If I say answer, you don't will go and check it. Once you check it, it get memorized. So this is the question, and do check it. And in the Unit 5, the International Organization of Global Governance is a more or less an interesting one and the more important one. What the chapters in Unit 5 is role of international organization, international peace and security, development cooperation and democratization, UN, United Nations, roles, relevance, and reforms. Usually, every year I can find the UN question is one or two questions is asked. The global governance, issues and challenge of global commons, region, sub-regional organization, and impact of globalization, international laws, instrument of global governance. So, uh, the same books reference for it. And what you have to do is you have to go to the individual website. You go to the UN website, uh, go through the website and find the roles and relevance and forms. They are UN has been divided into many subheadings, many bodies. You have to know which body is under which is under which. Therefore, you have to be thorough in those aspects. The UN bodies, what its the roles, functions, who is the current general secretary, past general secretary, what's there been the reforms and relevance. So that's how you should know about the international organization and how it functions. One of the questions is the I put out here just in 2022, Economic and Social Council supervise the following UN institutes. So it is taken directly from the UN website. If you won't go through the UN website, you will know Economic and Social Councils will control which of the body will be greatly or explicitly written. So therefore, I ask you to go through the UN bodies because it is given the United Nations role. You will find it explicitly in the website. So it is mandatory for everyone for studying international organizations and global governance to go to the respective body websites to get a chunk of it. So that's how you collected the data or for your studying materials. And go give the answers in the chat box will be good. And for the sixth one is then India's foreign policy. Many say that you should refer some books by the foreign policy book. No one knows that here, I said earlier, the India's one, 506 book gives an idea of about India's foreign policy, evolution, trajectory, etc. And the current MEA website, you can go through it. It also says and how subject one principles in an elaborate manner, and more importantly, India's the PT 360 by Vision IAS will given complete idea of India's foreign policy because in PT 360 it gives an the current area which the foreign policies of India, especially with the USA, Russia, China, and you will be shown. And the Pavnit Singh's book will be most useful for India's look east and act east policy. Who are the founders? You should know the who are the prime minister who initiated it, who is the prime minister who take it, and what is look east, what is act east, what has been done, what has what is success and failures. So, and India's engagement with international regional organizations will always converge with the UN and the upcoming the regional bodies. So that's how the role of India's foreign policy is how we've been moved. India's been moved. Therefore, it's we have to go through this the book especially, and Panwit Singh's book is important. And Vision IS to 360 is important. On examples, I said this, which are the following area distributed in India-China conflict. So, if you one read the PT 360, the international relations from the Vision IS, it's a contemporary one. One easily guess which all the areas in India, because some areas has been recently developed, like Galwan valleys, which some other are in use for the past 50 years, let's say Arunachal Pradesh. Therefore, by getting to know and reading this, you can easily find out the areas. So I asked the participants to give an go for that one in the chat box will be great. And that's how the unit 6. And for the unit 7, this focus on South Asia and India Pacific region. South Asia, as India has a specific one, South Asia and other countries, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia has a more important concept in JRF questions. So here they are given geopolitical, geostrategic settings, the colonialism, nationalism, and independence movement in each South Asian countries are the national building, state building, challenges to the modernization, post-independence development, internal external threat to state and security, regional territorial and maritime issues, role of extra regional power, and the bodies, IORA, SAR, ASEAN, ARF, AP, BIMSTEC, Meganga, Cooperation, etc., and impact of LPG. So here I said, like UN body, you have to go through each SAR website, Asian website, ARF, AP website, and find out what's the role, objective, how many meetings takes place, which year takes place. The latest one you have to memorize who are the leaders who attended, etc., etc. That's the more important, because these type of questions will be asked in the JRF and has been asked. That's how you have to know it. For example, by revising the past year's questions, you will get to learn from the three, because they may ask who's the king of Indonesia, what's his name, Krishna 1 or Krishna 2 or Krishna 3. And if you read about Krishna 3, he has given some inputs for the national building of Indonesia and etc. etc. Therefore, you have to read the questions along with the subjected books. You will get an idea. That's how you will get a grasp of the South Asian and Indo-Pacific region. And more importance should be given the regional, territorial, and maritime issues, which will be covered in the PT 360 for the IR1. And each important body which has been mentioned here. And in the PT 360 international relations one, we greatly be given. One of the questions is given is SARC agreement, which of the area of cooperation, because it has been completely taken on 2021. There is a SARC issues happen in 2019-20, because they, as it is in the newspaper, and there's been the newspaper has been collected into the PT 360. One can easily find out which areas there are operations have been going on, because it is strictly taken out of the websites or from the newspaper. So this how the questions has been developed, and by referring the past questions, you can easily answer this question. I asked the participants to put their answers in the chat box. So on the Unit 8, Central Asia, West Asia, and Africa, the same exact copy of the South Asian and Pacific with a regional trade and development strategy partnership, because with the Central Asia, with the recent conflict of Gaza and other thing, it takes a major focus when questions. But for main, they may not ask about the direct current impact. They ask about the initial time when the Israel forms another was the Israel Prime Minister, when it Israel was given um, uh, and recognized by the Indian government. That type of questions has been asked and will be asked. Therefore, when the past questions and the current event is more important. One of the examples is See, the Indian Muslim Brotherhood, founded in 1928, Egypt was committed to the concept of what? So this is being developed because this centralization has to be read from the post. This can also be linked to the chapter one or chapter unit two, to be exact, because it studied about the evolution of yeah, because it is this questions can be found in the global politics, not exactly. We have to find out on which basis the Muslim Brotherhood was formed, especially in the 1928 and other things. So that books will help you a lot, and the regional trade can be found in the current affairs through the PT 360 is another gadget one. And in the unit 9 and 10, you see it's about Europe and Europe, Russia, and the Americas. So it is the same questions here. The Europe between two wars, the alliance and the NATO, Warsaw Pact, Helsinki Accord, etc. As you study in the Cold War, will be explained in detail. You should know the date of sign, year of sign, what the person's true sign, whether the failure or pass. It has been, they may ask you, match the following and etc. etc. And the thinkers and the others who has written about the books, what are the ideas and the concept, the thesis, etc. Especially on these issues, because the most of the IR thinkers is mostly from Americans as other Europeans. So we have to look at those aspects too. And the other thing is the internal external security to the state security, human migration, refugee, ethnic problems. It's been in Europe, the recent times, you have to find the conventions they signed, what are the cooperation done, strategic partnership they have taken, and the Apple cases, etc. It's a current affairs, which has been interlinked and linked with the, as I said, with the chapter unit 1, 2, 3, with the later unit 9 and 10. That's how it has to be taken. For example, the 2022, the same questions, what the glasnost represents. If one studied the Soviet Union breakup of Soviet Union, one may easily find out the answers to it. So just go through it and give an answer. It's simple, easy questions. One, if you one is read a Soviet Union a lot, they will get to know what's the glasnost mean. Likewise, for the United, the Americas doesn't mean it is United State. It is about the whole American continent. The same exact syllabus, whereas with which focus on the Americas. So, for example, one of the questions they have asked is about the American War of Independence was a manifestation of what? Which has been developed by interlinked with the the earlier independence movement, American movement, as well as the earlier part of the earlier part, the unit one, unit two, the evolution and etc. So you should know the American War of Independence, when was it conducted, who are the leaders, and what's the aim and objective which led to the American War of Independence. So, likewise, it's another questions from 2012, then JRF questions. Then it was the paper who was divided into paper 2 and paper 3. So here, one of the examples I'm saying is it's about the thinkers and the book they have written. So Samuel Hunting, Inger Kitchen, Franz Fukuyama, etc. etc. This is a likewise, these questions are asked in the last year's exam, in the past exams, the recent past exams, and in the future exams too. So I have to read about these thinkers. Likewise, in each units for each, thinkers will be given. You have to find out the thinkers' names, and then we find out. So for this only, the thinkers and other things, the global politics by Andrew K was more important because they are given a separate section for, let's say, Joseph Nair will be given, Henrik Singer will be given, and what are the books they are given, what are the concepts they are being given. It's so important. So that's it. The points to be remembered is the books, writers, thinkers, the books I referred major plays a point, and for the conferences and the when the bodies is formed, we have to know the year, place, and the countries involved, and head of the countries who are the head. And the key concept is more important, and the structure of each the UN bodies has to be memorized and put it for a lot. So that's it for now. Thank you. Uh, Anyone has any doubts, you can put it on the query box or just uh, you can, I mean, just say
Hi, I'm Keshav. Okay, I have a doubt.
Yeah, hello.
So,
Hello, Keshav.
yeah,
Mm.
many times they ask an organization, and then they ask us to point out which country is a member and which is not. So,
Yeah, yeah.
if you look at all the organizations, isn't it difficult for us to memorize all the countries? Second, which treaties to study? That is also my question. Treaties.
Yeah, as far as the countries to remember, it is mandatory to remember. Because as a student of IR, student, one mandatory I forgot to mention that is while studying how to keep the world atlas map in your hand. And you can easily memorize. It is not an easy one. Once you know the objectives and the ideas, you will easily find out which country will be in the organization. Okay, therefore only, for example, in if let's say they ask you to pick out an country or country from the organization. For example, let me say, in one organization, I think Iran will be left out. Don't remember the organization name, because Iran is an Shia, it's an Shia dominated country, whereas the other one is in Sunni dominated countries, the Central Asians. So likewise, you can easily memorize the Asian countries, of the mentioned countries, ASEAN or the G20. G20 can be easily. I mean, I if you are good enough, you can rate G20 top to 1 to 20. But once you read once or twice, you will get to know which country is likely to be based in G20, because G20 countries has to be, I said, not to memorize page to page, but glance through it 3 or 4 times. You will get memorized it. I'm sure of it. And eliminating the options is another techniques. I'm sure everyone will be easy to one. And for the conventions and other things, as I said earlier, uh, the one which mentions in the syllabus, that conventions has to be read. Here it doesn't mentions about any environment conventions. No, they didn't mention any environment conventions. Therefore, you don't find a large number of environmental conventions will be asked. Only the army conventions, the nuclear weapons conventions, the MAD conventions, and the treaties will be asked, not the environment conventions. If you study about the environment conventions, it will be a large the number. You can't make it. But whereas the syllabus is not as not in detail of the specific conventions. And one one question in the chat box, sir, is it important to say famous? No, it is a waste of time to return the every books written by great foreign diplomats and ministers. Truth to be said, one cannot uh, get 200 out of 200 of every war for one. You have to be strong in your your basement. These are the questions they ask, not in large number. They don't ask 10 questions on the famous books written by an Indian foreign diplomat. They may ask 1 or 2 questions. You shouldn't focus on this. By leaving out the major important focus is on the mad doctrine. If you don't know what is a mad doctrine, or if you don't know what is the unipolar bipolar exact meaning, or which country is involved, then it is mistakes on our side. Therefore, focus on those subjects which is given in the syllabus, and the books is more important than concentrated on this one. And as I said, these current affairs which will be given in the Vision 365, which you can just go through the ministers and diplomats. So as far as the competitive exam is concerned, no one should get a 200 or 200. I got this is about the percentile. One if you want to get JRF, you will be around 95 percentile, etc. I got around 99 percentile, 0.9 and something. So it is my correct answer is I got around one uh, correctly out of 1 questions. I got around 78 questions to be correct. So maybe the 79 question is the first one who got the one. So it is because another 22 questions I got wrong. One cannot specifically focus on the previous the last year's questions. Yeah, it's available. I think I had some available questions which will be shared with the Revamp members, and you can collect that from them. Yes, any other?
Yeah, if any other participants have any doubt, you can unmute yourself and ask. If not, then we'll close this session. Somebody asked for a. Can you send us the previous year question from last 21, 22, 23? Yeah, I think UGC website has a separate link for previous year questions. I'll write an email to you. Yeah, bro, I have a question to you that
Yeah, sure.
what would be your last suggestion for last minute, those who have already prepared and continuously preparing for the exam, who is like, we have very less days. So what would
Yes,
be
yes.
your very quick response to it? Your last words to
Yeah,
the aspirant.
the last one is yeah, as the last minute preparation is go through the previous year questions and the conventions and the years uh, and the SORC and the other bodies you're saying, just go through it quickly. Just a glance is more than important rather than to study because you studied a lot and you have put your hard work to a lot. Therefore, the previous year's questions is now before the exams. Just don't go through the questions. Just go through the conventions, the ideas, the countries which you have studied, and etc. The members countries, the thinkers books. Just go through a lot. The said book just suggested you can go through the thinkers and the books if you have time, or else just go through the notes which you have prepared. The previous year questions makes you uh, be in the top 1% bracket for